Hello and welcome to the special collection of short business support podcasts that have been designed and created, especially with you in mind, the local business owner. This has been an unprecedented time of lockdowns. It's an experience we never would have imagined would exist in our lives. When would we have thought that our businesses would be closed for such extended periods? We're now into almost a year of it, so I know it's starting to affect a lot of us in a much stronger, impactful way than it was last year. This masterclass will give you practical information, professional tips, and inspiring ideas. I really want to help you revamp and re-energize both yourself and your business as you prepare to reopen your doors. I'm Mags McAlpin. My business is called Creating Retail Magic. It's a creative retail consultancy where we provide training, mentoring, and advice all about the creative side of retail. We call it retail theatre. So think about the magical customer experience that you can offer every person that comes into touch and contact with your business, your products, your brand, your space, and your services. It's that sensory experience, the sights, the smells, the sounds, and maybe even the tastes that makes your space special. So perhaps you'd like to take your pen, your notebook, grab yourself a cuppa and enjoy these next 20 or 30 minutes as you listen to the Spring into Retail 2021 programme. I guarantee that you'll take at least a few new ideas and inspirations away that you should consider as you prepare to reopen your doors and to welcome your customers back in. And don't forget, of course, that your local council is there. It's just a phone call away. Please do give them a call or drop an email to them and see what guidance there is and maybe support that you can avail of. So enjoy the masterclass and I hope you get some nice tips. Hello and welcome to this short podcast, which is called Creating Your Own Retail Magic. It's all about focusing on customer service excellence. And what I want to do in this short masterclass is really look at the experience of being a customer and think about it in your own experience, your own terms. What makes it special for you when you go to a particular shop or you receive a particular service and you feel that really positive impact afterwards and you think, I got some really good service there. I will definitely recommend them. I'll definitely go back. What was it? What was that difference? There's many, many reasons. The people, the place, the product. And it's that magical mix of everything. Now, I have trained many, many people. I was counting up the other day, probably about 500 people I have had the privilege of training in customer service excellence over the years that I've had Creating Retail Magic retail consultancy. And that has been across a broad spectrum of businesses, both from personal services such as hair salons, nail salons, barbers, right through to butchers and bakers and candle makers, if not candlestick makers, and also through to the professionals, professional suppliers of services such as law and accountancy. So I've had a lot of experience at working through different businesses, whether they have a bricks and mortar retail shop, a salon, a practice, or even a market stall. And the common thing throughout when we're looking at our customer services, how do we make our customers feel at the end of the day? In this short session, what I really want us to look at is the interaction, the communication process, putting ourselves in the shoes of our customers. And I hope the session will refresh and re-energize you when you go to reopen your doors of your shop. I also think it hopefully will be of use to maybe you have some staff and you want to update their training or give them a little jig on things. Let them have a look at this short session and again stimulate thought and empathy and connection with people. I have a presentation that I'm going to share with you and I hope you'll get some good ideas and top tips for it. So grab a cup of coffee there, a glass of water, a notebook, a pen, and get ready just to jot down a few ideas. So we're now looking at creating your own retail magic. So the purpose of it is increasing your sales through your customer service excellence. There's 4 areas that I'm going to look at in this session. The first one being the communication process. If we can understand that as the foundation of where we're going, I think this will give us good insight into what we want to achieve. The customer journey. Now that's looking from the other side of it, looking at what it's like to be in the customer's shoes and how they feel and how they will interact with you, your brand, your product, your place. From there, we start to look at delivering the excellence that is customer service. Again, some top tips you will get around that. And to wrap up our session, your magical moments, a synopsis and a summary of the things I've talked about in the session that I will expect and hope that it will reinvigorate you and your staff as you get ready to open your doors again to your business in these really, really uncertain times, of course. Mental health issues, both on a personal level for us as business owners and employers and leaders of our team. It's so important. And especially in these unprecedented and unusual times that we're in. So I hope in this next half hour or so that you will get, again, some good tips and ideas and some solace in what we're going to talk about. So let's look at the first bit, which is around the communication process. It's all about, interestingly, not really what you say, but how you say it. Think about, again, if you're comforting a small baby or an animal, if they're distressed. They may not understand the words you're using, but they'll certainly understand the sentiment. And that is through, again, the different aspects of the communication process. And what's quite interesting is that when we look at the communication process, we see that verbal is 7%, the vocal, the voice of it, is 38%, but the non-verbal is 55%. So a lot of what we say, in terms of not what we say, but how we say it, is around the body language. So think about how you react with your customers, how your staff react with your customers. Very, very simply, are they making eye contact when your customers come into the shop? Are they acknowledging your customer's presence? We have all, unfortunately, I'm sure, had the experience of going into a premises and feeling ignored and all the negativity that comes around that. Or maybe the staff are chatting about what they got up to the night before, or maybe they're on their phones online, all of those things. It's the body language that is so important. So that's one of my first top tips. Think about that. You're making eye contact, your body language is open and welcoming. You may be serving a customer already or be engaged in something else, you know, working at the till or wrapping up something or stocking a shelf. But use your body language to acknowledge that person and say to them, I know you are here. I'm sorry I can't help you at the minute. I will shortly, but I acknowledge your presence. So body language, really, really important. And then when you start engaging with the person, the tone. Again, very, very basic common sense things, but monotone, flat, disinterested. Those tones we do not want when we're serving our customers. We want to have a liveliness about us, a welcome, a willingness to engage, and a desire to actually help and to serve. It's your tone, again, 38% in that mix. It's really, really important. And I would also say bringing that into a wider group of thoughts and ideas. When we're looking at our business in a whole, think about the tone on your social media, in your branding, in your communication. As part of this series of Spring into Retail 2021, we have a collection of masterclass sessions that we also look at branding, social media, your visual experience of your environment, and of course, photography. So have a look at the tone throughout. Does it really match your brand identity and your personality? Is it upbeat? Is it more modern? Is it a bit more classic and refined? What is the tone that you are using? The other aspect there ties in nicely, which is your vocabulary. Again, for a house style, decide how do you want your customers to feel when they come into the shop or your business or your salon or your practice, and communicate that equally to your staff so that there is consistency throughout the whole experience. One of the most frequent questions I've been asked recently when it comes to communication from my customers is wearing face coverings have caused a lot of, how shall I say, more challenges. I won't say issues or problems, but a little bit more challenges. We're very, very used to now wearing our face coverings when we go into our retail spaces. But there are still kind of issues, especially if we are working with our customers that maybe are slightly more hard of hearing or have more hearing challenges. So a lot of people have asked me, well, what do I do if I'm wearing a face mask and someone can't really hear me? How do I get around that embarrassing, awkward situation so that I don't feel the temptation to pull the mask aside or the person doesn't do that? So I got some information from Disability Awareness, which are credited at the bottom of this slide. And the information that I have seen in guidance is really very, very simple. When you're wearing your face covering, well, don't shout. If someone's hard of hearing or has issues around that, they may not even be able to hear you, no matter how loud you shout. So don't do that, because also shouting impacts on your body language, and that creates a negativity, which we don't want. Take your time speaking. If necessary, use bullet points, like jot down a few little notes. And again, don't be afraid to ask salient, pertinent, even short follow-up questions, just to make sure that person feels comfortable that you are taking the time to really understand them and to ease the process. Again, they could be feeling as awkward or as uncomfortable as anyone else, and yourself including. And again, the last little tip I saw there was be mindful of your environment. A lot of background extraneous noise is something that someone with a standard and usual hearing may not be really aware of and wouldn't even bother you. But to someone who may be more sensitive to that, it would really hinder the communication process. So just be aware of any background noise. Maybe you just need to take yourselves off to a little quieter area of your practice, of your space, of your place. So again, very, very simple, straightforward little ideas, common sense almost. Going on from the communication process, you'll see there's 3 icons on the screen. So there's a mouth, an ear, and a brain. So talking, listening, and thinking. Really, really important in our communication process. Rapport. Rapport is that relationship of mutual understanding, of trust, and an agreement. And we achieve rapport through various elements. And for me, one of the most important things is active listening. And especially when I'm working with staff that are getting used to a new job, a new place, or maybe they're starting out in their career of customer service or retail. Active listening is a very, very hard thing to do. We all can hear what we're hearing, but to listen and really glean the information to then respond and help the person who's asking the questions or seeking help, that's another thing altogether. So what I want to do is just have a little look at that. It's quite interesting. We speak at 125 to 140 words per minute, which is quite interesting. You wouldn't think that you would even maybe speak that much a minute. But what's interesting is that we hear 400 words per minute. And when it comes to thinking, and I'm sure we've all done this, we're talking, so of course we're thinking other things, or we're hearing other people and other things around us. And of course our brains are still going along. But what would you think that we think? How many per minute would go into the thought process? 1,000. We are thinking on average 1,000 words per minute. So when you see that you have all of this information and messages going on all around us, no wonder that can distract the active listening process. So I put together a little mnemonic here just to kind of give a synopsis of, for me, what active listening is. And I hope this will kind of, again, help you and stimulate your own thought on this. Listen. So try to really listen carefully for the important information that the client is asking you for, your customer is asking you for. Show interest, of course, that you do have a desire to help them, that they're not imposing on your day, or they're getting in your way, or they're actually a nuisance. All the things that I have felt at times as a would-be customer going into a space where I wasn't acknowledged or equally wasn't served. Silent, let the people speak. Again, I often have this fault, it is a fault, that in my desire to help or find a solution for someone, I don't let them finish their sentence, and I don't let them finish what they want to say. And I want to jump in, because it's not a malevolent approach by any means. I really just want to help, and I want to give the solutions. So I try to learn to be silent and keep my mouth shut for that while and let the person speak and say what they want to say. And equally, whilst you're listening to them, think. Remember, our brains at 1,000 words per minute can be all over the place. You might be thinking, oh, the phone's ringing in the background, or it's nearly lunchtime, or I need to get this done or that done, or I have something going on at home. We're distracted by all of those. So if there's some way that you can really focus your thought process on the person in front of you, or on the phone, the person with whom you're speaking, that's a really great thing to do. Engage, well, that makes absolute sense. Your desire to help, your desire to provide a solution, your desire to ultimately get money in your till, because we're in business, that all should be there as well. And of course, the needs of your customer. We will talk about needs and expectations in a short while, but really start to think, if you haven't already, think about your customer and what are their needs. They may be your existing customers, or maybe you want to reach out to a new tribe of customers. We'll have a little bit of an analysis of your customers in a moment, but start thinking about the needs of the people that are coming into your business and using your business. And on that point, I want us to think about the customer journey. The customer journey is a really interesting area of research. A lot of businesses have, I would say, I think, started to explore the idea of a customer journey and then got so far with it and left it one thing and another. But what's really interesting is that the customer journey looks at all interactions with your brand, your product, your services, across all the touch points in every channel that you are present on. And especially, of course, now in this normal day of social media and online presence, it's almost constant 24/7 that we could be online doing stuff, or people are able to access our businesses, our brands, our presence. In the series of Spring into Retail 2021 masterclasses, we have another masterclass which is all about branding and communication. And we have one that looks at the social media and your social media marketing. I'd love you to have a look at those as well, to glean some more information and top tips into how you can really analyze your own brands and, I would say, optimize those assets within your brand, your product, and your services. So do please have a look at those as well. And looking at this again, your customer journey, your customer will come into contact with your brands, not just through walking in your door, so many other ways. This little diagram will give you an idea of where that can be. And I've broken it down into these areas. There's 6 areas: awareness, evaluation, purchase, usage, repurchase, and advocacy. Now, you'll see there in the orange section at the beginning, awareness. This is where, again, people start to know about you, how much you are doing yourself, how much you are pushing yourself, and how much other people, of course, are talking about you. Both the promoted and the organic, as we say, communication process. So your awareness area, the first bit, through public relations, through direct mail, contacting your customers straight out there. And maybe you're going to do other offline media like print and TV, or you might be focusing again on your social. So think about how you are building up your awareness. And again, going back to our earlier slide there, your tone, the vocabulary that you're using, and the whole personality, your brand personality, what is that going to be about? And how is that going to connect with your customers? And then when we have that awareness process section done, the client starts to evaluate things. So again, they may read something that you've published, they may visit a webinar or a website, of course, that you've presented. They will maybe read some of your blogs. They'll certainly connect with you on social media, and they'll search for you through the search engine optimization. So they're starting to think, I'm interested in this brand, or I have experience of this brand. Let me see what else they're doing. So that whole evaluation is a constant process. In fact, this whole process is a constant process that goes on and goes back and back and back on itself. After the evaluation, then you start to go into where we're interested in terms of money in our till, the purchase. So again, through e-commerce, through in-store, if they're able to come into you. Maybe you have a catalogue, an online or a print catalogue, an app, of course, and then sales through maybe third-party distributors. So the purchase has been made there, and the customer experience then becomes into a user experience. And they will connect with you through not only, I'm talking about not only just using your product and your service, but it's the connection with you and the communication. So again, connecting with you maybe through emails that they may wish to send you, or customer service issues that have to be dealt with, using community platforms, social media questions, and again, frequently asked questions that may be on your website. So keep having a look and keep in mind the tone, your brand personality, as you go through each of these stages, from awareness through evaluation, purchase, the usage. And then hopefully what we want in the commercial cycle is repurchase. Again, however they're going to buy more of your products and your services, whether it's through your online presence, your actual presence, third parties, etc. Because what we really want to do is when we get to the final stage of this cycle here, advocacy, we want people to be our silent salespeople almost. In fact, we want them to be more than silent. We want to be our super salespeople. We want people to tell others, that is a good brand. That is a great experience in that shop. Go to that restaurant. They couldn't do enough for you. We want people to tell others to be ambassadors for us and say, really support local, keep these people in business, keep their business going, keep food on the table, because especially in these really challenging, as we know, and unprecedented times, I think it really has come into such a sharp focus as before now, more than ever, of how important it is for us to support our local businesses, our local communities. So having a look at our customer journey and you having a look at your own customer's journey, I think is a really worthwhile thing to do. And do please spend a little bit of time doing that. And even get a trusted friend, an objective friend, to look at the customer journey that they experience within your business and give you just some truths, because you can always bring something up a notch. You can always bring your own customer experience and your customer journey up another notch. There will be something you haven't thought of. From this, I really want us just to have a look at to give you a working example of a customer journey, again, of the hospitality sector, of a restaurant or a cafe or a bar, who is making a reservation for a table. So the way it works out is the customer has the intention. They want to come in and have a table with you. So interest and anticipation. They've heard about the beautiful new menu that you have. You've had a new chef in. They're really excited now to get out after all these months and weeks of not being able to get out. So they're really looking forward to coming to you. So that anticipation is there. The anticipation and the desire, the fun, the expectation of the promise and the fulfillment of the promise. So then they arrive. Think about your first impressions. Again, have you prepared your business for this? And you may not have a hospitality business, of course, but what is the experience going to be like when you reopen the doors and you re-welcome back in your customers? What are your first impressions and what are their first impressions that they will receive? Visually, again, have you got your window displays in order? Have you got your sanitizers in place? Have you rejigged the layout of your space? We have another session in this collection of masterclass series, which looks at interior layouts and space and visual merchandising for retail environments. So perhaps you'd like to have a little look at that and maybe glean some tips and ideas from that of how you could go into your space at the moment while you're closed and maybe rejiggle a little bit. So think about, again, first impressions when your customers come back in. We talked about the actual space, the environment, the sense of the place, connected also to the visual. Have you got some fresh flowers and fresh plants around? Your sanitizer, it's visible there, but how is it presented so that it's not just a very sterile, almost a cold or clinical approach? It's safe and it's hygienic, but also we don't want it to be off-putting. And of course, we want to be very visible for obvious reasons. Think about also your staff and your people in your place, and yourself, of course. How are you welcoming them? How are you making that connection through your non-verbal communication? Remember, it's the most important thing in the communication mix. So eye contact, open hands, open arms, social distancing being, of course, the priority, bringing them to their table, seating them at their table. Think about, again, what are the first impressions? And then, of course, when the order is placed, how are you communicating? Are your staff trained and very, very, I should say, prepared and trained to understand what's on the menu and what are your specials? Asking, are there any dietary or lifestyle considerations that need to be taken in? What other information can they give about the product they're selling, the suppliers? I've tasted it myself, I could really recommend this, or this is the chef's special. Again, all very, very common sense, but think back to when you have been in a fabulous restaurant or a cafe or somewhere that you had a really, really positive experience. What was it about that? Because that is what you want to ensure is happening in your experience that you're offering. We go on to looking at the food, the presentation of it, the promise, the skills of your chefs, the skills of your waiting staff. And throughout the whole evening, or session that they're with you. The experience is all about the ambience, the atmosphere, and the engagement, that your staff understand how to be available, yet not intrusive. And finally, we come there to the payment bit, where again, for the waiting staff, if tips are available to give them, they're really appreciated, of course. But from your business point of view, you want your customers really to feel that this was a great value for money, however your pricing is. And we really want to come again, and we want to tell other people. There's that approval and spreading the social approval as well. Because what that leads to is advocacy and loyalty, both online and offline, so that you can get your positive reviews online as you seek them, and also you can have people telling others about your place. So think about that in terms of your customer journey and the customer experience. One of my favorite old-time movies is Breakfast at Tiffany's, and the film, 1960s movie with Audrey Hepburn in it, and the film opens with a shot of this girl walking down Fifth Avenue, I think it is, in Manhattan, and she looks into the window of Tiffany's jewelry store, and it's a very, very iconic image. But for me, one of the most beautiful moments in that movie is when she goes into Tiffany's and she's with her friend, and they have this interaction. And basically, the character, her name is Holly Golightly, she has been talking about having depression and being in the bad form. And she says, I'm paraphrasing, but she talks about it's not the blues that annoy her, feeling down, depression, but it's the mean reds where she gets really angry and irate with the world. And she says, again, I'm paraphrasing, that for her, the only thing to do is to come to Tiffany's, because nothing bad could ever happen there. And it's that Tiffany's moment. I would ask you, what is your Tiffany's moment? What do you do that when your customers come into your store, your practice, your salon, how do you make them feel that Tiffany's moment where they go, this is great, I can get myself sorted out here. They have the solution, the customer service is great, the place looks lovely. I'm really happy that I'm supporting this local business. So that is maybe the one thing that you'll take from this session. What is your moment where if someone comes in and they just feel really, really at one with you? Let's have a look at the next area, which is about delivering that customer service excellence. Now, for me, again, based on my years of delivering training and customer service and sales through service, what I've come to really understand is that customer service excellence is really about understanding your customers so well that you can not only anticipate their needs, but more importantly, prepare and exceed for their expectations. So their needs are the service, the product, the information that you have. They're hungry, they'll come in to eat. But their expectations is that they're going to have something a bit more special. The type of food that you're serving, the wine that you have, the gorgeous coffee, the delicious little tray bakes, the yummy sandwiches. So if you can really focus on looking at the expectations of your customers and exceeding them. I remember being in a salon, a beauty salon, having a massage. And there was one moment in it where I thought, this is really lovely. So I was face down having a massage, and you have the hole cut out of the bed to allow you to breathe, I guess. And when I looked down, I noticed when you look down through the hole, they had set a beautiful shallow bowl with floating candles and floating flowers in it, and then set another little ring of candles all around it, little tea lights. So the room, picture the room, if you will, very, very dark and subdued lighting, lovely relaxing music on, lovely and warm under the warm blankets. And instead of just looking down through the hole at a blank floor or electrical cables for the bed or any of the other paraphernalia, I was looking at this beautiful little bowl of floating flowers and candles, and it was just delightful. It was really, really nice. And for me, that was one of those moments where I wasn't expecting that, and it was really, really nice. So again, think about, is there something a little different thing that you could do in your business that exceeds the expectations of your customers? And from there, what will happen is exceeding those expectations will create ultimately a satisfied customer, a sense of value for money, opportunities to upsell, and of course, those all important recommendations where you want your customers to be able to say to other people, go there. It's a really, really nice experience. You will enjoy it, and I would highly recommend it. That's ultimately what we want. Again, what that will bring is 100% customer satisfaction, or as close as we can get to it. Testimonials, great service, offering of quality, offering of solutions. All those really nice things all around customer service excellence. And of course, in life, in reality, as we always say, things will go wrong. They always do. But it's a case of knowing when to accept it and what to do next. So things will go wrong. They will go wrong. Our staff will not be able to answer questions. They'll deal with things in the wrong way, and we'll deal with ourselves as well because we're distracted by other things. We have things going on at home. But it's really interesting to sort of, I think, have this opportunity just to have a look at what happens when things go wrong and accept that they will. Be prepared for it. Because in truth, the average business, well, interestingly, it doesn't actually ever hear from 96% of its unhappy customers. Now, you would think that, again, getting reviews online and customer complaints and hearing things you see on social media pages and networks about complainers. But the truth is, when stats have been done, 96% are not actually heard of. But this is interesting. A dissatisfied customer may actually tell up to 10 people, 9 or 10 people. And when we work through that, statistics and research have also shown that for every complaint that has been received, there could be 26 customers, up to 26 customers, that have similar concerns. Maybe not the same, maybe slightly more, slightly less, but something around that. And this will all make sense in a moment. Because what's interesting is that, again, research, ample sales and customer service research has shown that if the complaint or the issue is resolved effectively, 70% of those customers will do business again with you because they want to. They like your product, they like your service, and something has gone wrong, but they want to get it sorted out. Because I think that's what humans do. There are very few of us that want to cause problems or have problems, or make problems. So 70% will do business again with you. But what's interesting is if you can get it resolved quickly, 95% will be fine with everything then. So the key message there is be prepared for when things go wrong. What do you do? What's your contingency in place? What is your recovery plan, to use a term that's very in the news at the moment? So use this opportunity to think about, especially if you have staff, that you are not personally serving your customers and you are relying on other people to be your ambassador. Are they skilled and empowered and informed and ready to sort out things when things go wrong? To whatever level, whether it's a little bit, just to get through the moment, or to ultimately make decisions to sort things out or to come to you. Think about it. What do you do when things go wrong in your business? And have that reaction and sort of, it's almost like doing a risk assessment, a risk management exercise. Because it says there, 26 customers may have similar concerns there. Because when I put money against that and I want to show you what it's worth in your till, you've got one person who is complaining, and maybe they spend £10 a month with you. Your opportunity to earn there is £120 a year, which you could earn or you could lose. And they tell 26 other people, so you've got 27 people there with similar concerns. When you add all that up at £10 a month, it's £270 a month, or £3,240 a year. So that could be earned or lost. Yeah. When you add all that up into a full year, if each of these 27 customers convince 10 other people not to use your services, well, there you go. Your potential loss or earnings, conversely, being positive about it, can be £32,400 per year. So for that one person on the £10 a month, going through the whole process, £32,400, it's quite a lot. So again, my point is, think about in terms of your customer service excellence. What happens when things go wrong? How do you recover that? What do you do? And little points here around delivering your customer service excellence. Well, it's really important feedback. It can be a tough thing to take because we can see it as a negative, of course, and complaints. And our business, we're very, very connected as small business owners. maybe it was our lifelong dream to have this business. Maybe it was a change in lifestyle circumstance that brought about the opportunity to have a business. Or maybe we inherited it and we're taking care of it and we're trying to grow it our way. But feedback, which again can be very personal and we take it personally, is very, very important. So what I would say to you is really be prepared to listen and learn. Literally take yourself back, if you can, out of the personal element of the situation. Now, I know that's really, really hard. I've had those situations myself, run my own business, where I have had truthfully negative feedback or a critical comment where my immediately thought was, well, that's not right. I didn't do that, or that would never happen. One of my staff members would never do something like that. But it's people's opinions and it's their experiences. So being prepared to listen and just to learn from the situation, it can be a hard pill to swallow, but trust me, it does help, because you can move on from it. And it can build, again, as we said earlier, about rapport, building trust and relationships and repairing the situation. So again, be prepared to listen and learn, and instill this thought also in your staff, again, so that they try not to take it personally, so you can get through it and get it resolved. An apology costs nothing, but may mean everything to our customer. Now, when I've been delivering a lot of customer service training and we were talking about issues like this, I've had a lot of feedback where the person that were the trainee, shall we say, is saying, no, I'm not prepared to apologize. I did nothing wrong. I get that. And we have talked about that. But what I've said to people is, you're not apologizing for what you may or may not have done and what the people, your client, your customer, has perceived you have done or done not. What you are, if you can think about it this way, that you are apologizing for the situation that has happened. You didn't come into work to go on your shift, or come into work today, or open the doors of your shop or your business to have an argument with someone, or to cause someone grief, or to ruin their day or ruin their evening. The situation has happened. So that's what you're really saying. I am sorry that this has happened. I don't want this to be, I don't want it to be like this for you. So I am sorry. And truthfully, taking that approach throughout the years of training I've delivered, a lot of my trainees, if not all, have taken that on board. And some of the great feedback I've got in relation to that was that has really helped them, that they've been able to, with their whole heart, say to the customer, I am really sorry that this has happened. And it saved face for them a lot. So maybe that's a good tip for you and your staff. Equally, the concern that the customer has raised, it may help improve service. Maybe it's something that you weren't even aware of. If you're not on the shop floor yourself, or you're not at the coalface, maybe it's information that can really help just change and bring your customer service up a notch. So try and take it that way as well. Maybe you would learn something from it, so that you can improve the experience and the customer service excellence that you really wish to deliver to your customers. And again, the final point there, which, as I mentioned earlier, it's so hard not to take it personally. I know that, I know it, and it's very hard to take it professionally, but you have to just pull up your straps and say, right, okay, learn from this and move on. And it's very hard, I know that, but try and do that. We're really in the wrap-up session here. Again, this masterclass that we've created for you all around your customer service experience, I really want it to be practical and just really a kind of sharing of ideas and based on my own experiences. So there's some little tips really as we wrap up the session. How can you take your customer service experience up a notch? Well, a few things. This is your take action, your action boards. Ask, listen and act. Ask your customers, while your businesses are closed at the moment, can you reach out to your tribes, to your communities, to your customers via your social media platforms? Ask them, what have they missed when they've not been with you? What do they want to see and to feel and experience and do when they come back to you? You might find that there's some really great ideas that you haven't thought about, or maybe you had thought about, but you thought maybe it wouldn't work. Maybe my customers wouldn't like that. And now you'll discover, yeah, they really would. Again, maybe share some ideas. We were thinking of rebranding. We were thinking of revamping the interior of the salon. What do you think of these colours? Are you liking marshmallow pinks, or should we be going for lovely citrusy limes? Things like that. Engage with your customers and use that whole brand personality that you have, that you can really optimize the opportunities to engage with your customers. Whilst the doors are closed, you're still connecting with them, but in terms of the customer service, they're more engaged with you. That rapport is there, they're part of it, and they can't wait then to come back and see what your salon is going to look like, how the shop has been since you've rejigged the area, what your new window displays are going to be like, what your market stall is going to be like when you reopen and you're back at the markets again. So ask, listen, and of course act, do it. And the next thing then, very importantly, I would say, if you have staff members who are not actively bought in, literally and figuratively, into the business, that can be a real challenge, because no one loves our business as much as we do. I have often quoted a line from W.B. Yeats' poem, which is, how can we tell the dancer from the dance? I love that line, because for me, it encapsulates what a small business, or maybe even a large business, a business owner is. We are the dancer. The business is our dance. We are inextricable. We are connected. So the love and the passion and the commitment, and maybe at times the hatred we have for our businesses, is not going to be the same of that our staff has. It's a different relationship. And I know some of us are very, very fortunate. We have wonderful staff that really wholeheartedly engage and commit themselves. But for those who don't, and for those who do, engage them. Ask them what way they could see your customer service experience changing and improving. What are the other little magical moments or differences that you could bring to your customers, both now online while you're engaging with them in preparing for the excitement of reopening your doors? And I know our energy levels are so challenged at the moment, both mentally, because of everything that's going on, not knowing when the doors are going to open, and when they do open, what it's going to be like, how long they will stay open for, all of this. But it's also the mental health challenges that we're having at the moment, having to cope with our businesses being closed, trying to cope, keeping our businesses alive, maybe online through our online sales or just our online communication engagements. But it's also all the things that's going on at home as well. Having to maybe homeschool, maybe to have to cope caring for other relatives, worrying about our older relatives, worrying about yourself, dealing with loneliness, all of those mental health issues, that you are not alone. We are all in this, absolutely all the same. We might not feel we're all in it together, but really we're all, many of us, feeling the same way. So it's to try and, whoosh you up, revamp your approach. This is what these sessions are about as well. So try to engage and optimize the skills and opportunities and ideas that are in your staff as well. On the back of that, seek support, training and networking opportunities. Have a look again online, what groups maybe you could connect into, what other training sessions that are available. Connect with your local council. There's so much guidance and support available. So just pick up the phone and make that call to them. As we go from there then, have a look, just take that fresh look at your retail theatre experience. In my own consultancy in Creating Retail Magic, we really use that phrase, retail theatre, because what I want is when people approach your business, your retail shop, your salon, your practice, I want them to have that anticipation. It's like that customer journey, the touch points, that when they see the front of your business and they see your signage or they see your window display, they come in through the door, they smell beautiful lemons and fresh flowers, they hear nice music, they see a smiling staff member, a smart uniform, a fun uniform, whatever the tone is of your brand personality. It's that retail theatre. And especially as we reopen our doors and welcome our customers back into our shops, that whole leisure experience, the joy of shopping, being in a shop, being in a practice, getting out, being near other people, optimize those opportunities. So have a look at your retail theatre experience and have a look at the masterclass sessions that we have here in our series, where we are looking at visual merchandising, space layouts, photography, and glean some creative ideas for those that you can improve your own retail theatre experience for when you do reopen your doors and re-welcome your customers back in. And importantly, as I mentioned there, please do not forget yourself. You are the fulcrum. You are the centre of all of this. So get yourself out for a bit of a walk or a cup of tea or eat chocolate biscuits, and don't feel guilty about this. Try and give yourself a bit of breathing space and go into the business. Literally go into your premises, or have a look at your market stall setup, however you do it. Go and try and give yourself fresh eyes. And remember that you are the center of all this. You are the linchpin. What can you do to bring yourself back in a happy way into the business? Again, it could be a lick of paint in your favorite color, some flowers that you love, changing some music, putting on your favorite soundtracks, getting some new uniforms. Just something to remind yourself, don't forget you, because you are the most important part of all of this. You're the glue that's keeping everything going. So as we finalize and finish up our session here, I'm going to just give you some top tips to take away. It's all about creating that retail magic, that Tiffany's moment in your own business. What would I like to say to you? Well, the first thing would be analyze your customer, know your customer, and this will help you get more understanding and therefore build your rapport. So take this time to think about, who are your customers? What sort of age groups are they? What gender are they? What lifestyle choices or experience will they have? Why do they come to your business? Why do they love you? Why are they dying to get back to you? So the more you can understand your customer, the more you can connect with them and therefore build your rapport. And from a practical sense, what that means is when you go to do your communicating with them, have a look at it, for example, our masterclass on social media and making your online marketing matter, and also the branding masterclass. That will give you helpful tips and ideas of how to really look at your customers. So do that. Take this opportunity to look at your customers and analyze them, because then what you can do is also do the customer journey analysis so that you can really understand what it's like as a customer. We're so busy working in our business, we often don't have time to work on our business. And that's what these little webinar sessions are about, giving you the permission, the opportunity to say, right, I'm going to do a bit of work on it, rather than just always in the business. So have a look at your customer journey and identify opportunities to approve what you've done. Say, yeah, this is good, this is working, but these are the little tweaks that I could do to bring it up a notch, a little bit of improvement. And again, look at the customer service, perhaps even via a third party. So it might be a case of engaging a mystery shopper, or again, a trusted friend, a professional friend, as we might say, and see what it's like to walk in the shoes of your customer, both maybe online, virtually, and then actually into the shop. So while the shops are closed, go and have a look objectively and see what it looks like on the outside. Could it do with a coat of paint? What about some nice fresh flower boxes? What are your window displays like? Do you need some new signage? Do you need a canopy? Would that look well? Are there any grants or supports available through the local councils to do that? Any street improvement projects? Find out about these things. And when you walk through that door, have a look and see what it's like. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you smell? What do you hear? All of those magical theatrical experiences. Do that yourself, get someone else to do it. And again, act based on what you hear. So ask, listen, act, like we said earlier. Have a look at your staff. If it's a case that you think, yeah, a bit of training, informally or formally, internally, externally, would that empower and motivate them to just really, really engage them? It's well worth that investment. And equally in yourself, is there anything else that you'd like to do to really zhuzh up yourself, to re-energize and re-motivate yourself? Is it a bit of mindfulness training? Do you need a little bit of social media support? Whatever is good for you, try and think about yourself as well as the others in your business. Again, use positive images and messages and your communication elements on your signage, both your signage around the shop. You might have signs say, welcome back, we're delighted to see you. Let us help you, we're here to serve. Isn't it great we're back? Hopefully normality is returning. All of this positive images and informations. And use that on your uniforms as well. It could be simple as something, just getting some nice printed t-shirts or little hoodies embroidered with your logo and a positive message. Think about your tagline for your business. Again, have you got something positive to say and communicate? As I mentioned there, visual, aural, olfactory experiences to engage and excite. How does your place look? How does it sound? How does it smell? What is that wonderful Tiffany's moment where someone comes in and goes, oh, nothing bad could ever happen in here? So what is your wraparound experience and what are the little changes you can do? Check out our other masterclasses again to get some ideas around that. Bring your products, place and people to life, again, online, through little short videos, through little reels on your Insta stories, little events on your Facebook, connect your Facebook page, through to your online shop, to your reservations, all of those things. And you can learn about all those, for example, in our social media masterclass. But bring your product, your place and your people just to life whilst our doors are closed, and build up the anticipation and expectation for when you open the doors that people will come to you and be delighted to be with you again. Finally, ask yourself a very, very simple question. How else can I give the best customer experience? Practical things, online deliveries, personal shopping experience, where people can make a booking to come in with people within their bubble, perhaps, if not alone, to come in and have a look at the shop. This may or may not work for you, but think about what else can I do? Is it something like writing some postcards, personal handwritten messages to customers that you have their addresses for, actual in the post with a stamp in a post box? Is that something that would be nice to do? Dropping them an online message through the social media. How can you connect with them until the doors open? And when your doors reopen, what can you do then? Are you going to have a reopening launch, little goodie bags, little treats, something like that? Some live music, socially distanced, screened off in your window display, away from people. What can you do that is safe, but also fun and creative and theatrical? It's that, again, that retail theater experience that I really want you to think about for your business. So that really is how we will conclude our masterclass, which is all about creating retail magic in your own business around your customer service excellence. Take a step back, think about yourself, how you are the fulcrum, the center to everything that's going on. And then have a look at your people, your staff, your colleagues, your clients are the next one then. You go on and you look at your customers and think about how can I really make the reopening special, the lead up to the reopening full of anticipation and excitement for them. And use these masterclasses to glean some ideas and check out our other ones as well. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I really wish you all the best as we go through this these unprecedented experiences in our lives. But please keep the faith, keep the focus, and I absolutely wish you all the best of success. Thank you so much.